Hello everybody, this is week 1 of the high school football season. Actually, it's week 2, Eric. We have a 0 week in high school football. But
2 weeks in August.
Yeah, 2 weeks in August. This is actual week 1. We've got a good lineup on tap. I'm Fred Robledo of the San Gabriel Valley News Group, here with Erik Boal of the Los Angeles Daily News. He'll tell you everything about football going on in the daily news coverage area. We've got 4 games to talk about, Eric, and then we'll get into like a rapid fire discussion at the end.
Awesome.
Where you'll give us your thoughts on some other games in the area. First game on the schedule, Valencia. This is their first game against Palmdale. Valencia is going to be at home against Palmdale. They are 1-0. They defeated Ridgecrest Burrows 40-0. Eric, tell us about that game this week and who you like.
Yeah, well, right there it tells you. I mean, Palmdale, a very defensive-minded team. Valencia actually beat Palmdale last year 17-0. So I think points are going to be at a premium in this game. What I'm most excited about seeing is the battle between Palmdale running back DeMario Richard, one of the most underrated and quickest juniors in Southern California, going up against Valencia defensive back Tedrick Thompson, a senior 4-year varsity starter. If both of these guys meet in the open field, it's going to be like the irresistible force and the immovable object. I mean, it could be a foot race to see. So, I mean, I really like that clash, but I think that it's going to be a low-scoring game. Valencia likes to spread it out with quarterback Sean Murphy. Palmdale, Coach Jeff Williams' mentality is in between the tackles, want to run Richard as much as possible. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think Valencia probably has just a few too many weapons. I know Palmdale has the advantage for playing a game, but I think Valencia just has a few too many weapons. I like Valencia in a close game.
Yeah, talk about that real quick. You know, there's 2 schools of thought. One, Palmdale's already played a game, but the second thing is Valencia has been able to really watch them in a full game. Who do you give the advantage in situations like that?
Oh, well, I mean, certainly I think that Palmdale will probably be playing a cleaner game. I think that they probably got some of those motion penalties out of the way, delay of game penalties out of the way. They're probably better in the special teams. But the one thing with Valencia, Coach Larry Muir, this team has been chomping at the bit to get back out on the field. They were upset early in the Northern Division playoffs last year, and I promise you, and these teams played in the summer too, right. and Valencia was successful. So even though Palmdale's played the game, and even though I think they're going to be a little bit cleaner, I still say advantage Valencia.
Okay, advantage Valencia. You heard it with Eric. Number 2, second game on the schedule. We've got Sierra Canyon. They're 1-0. They defeated Bishop 36-0 last week. And we got El Camino Real. They defeated North Hollywood. That game's going to be at Granada Hills High School. They defeated them 14-12. Eric, talk about that game.
For Sierra Canyon, well, first of all, the people in the San Gabriel Valley need to familiarize themselves with Sierra Canyon. With them being moved up to the Mid-Valley Division. This
is the team that's supposedly going to take on Monrovia. This is the team that went undefeated last year.
Absolutely.
And that people in our area are absolutely overlooking. They think it's going to be easy. Monrovia, three-peat. Not just Sierra Canyon, but Paraclete. Last I remember when Paraclete was in this division, they were beating Rosemead for a CIF title.
Absolutely. So I want people not only in the Pasadena Star News area, the San Gabriel Valley area, I want them to familiarize themselves with Sierra Canyon. This might not materialize until November, but I want them to be familiar with. And this is a huge litmus test for Sierra Canyon because El Camino Real has about 10 times the enrollment of Sierra Canyon. Big, physical LA City section school. They run double wing, a lot of misdirection, and Sierra Canyon has a ton of athletes. There's no doubt they've got El Camino Real beat at the skill positions, but the fact that El Camino Real is a ball possession, ground and pound type of team. They're going to really try to milk the clock as much as possible and keep Sierra Canyon's athletes off the field. So this is a huge challenge for Sierra Canyon.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit more about Sierra Canyon because they're a team. From what I heard, they'd lost a few players from the team that went undefeated last year. But you look at that opening result, Eric, 36-0. Maybe they lost a few, but it sounds like they're reloading right away.
And the people at Monrovia and San Dimas and Camino need to keep track of these names. Xavier Menafield, senior running back, committed to Northwestern, and Kieran Yancey, receiver, defensive back, kick returner. Before the guy Kieran Yancey suffered a season-ending knee injury last year. Right. Before that, he was averaging nearly 50 yards per return.
Wow.
Explosive in the special teams game. Coach John Ellinghaus Sierra Canyon has really been pointing to this game. They've won 16 in a row, which is the longest winning streak in the daily news coverage area. If they win this, then everything should be smooth sailing until the first Alpha League showdown with Paraclete.
And who are you taking in this game?
Sierra Canyon.
Going with Sierra Canyon.
Absolutely,
okay.
Sierra Canyon.
Third game, some more games that we're familiar with. We got Alemany, 1-0. They're going to be at home against Mir, who's 0-1. Alemany whipped Pasadena last week, 45-8, Eric. Mir, they're playing an awfully tough schedule. I mean, they opened with Upland. They lost 34-6. A game they were kind of in early. But again, Alemany, they like playing our Pasadena schools. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, again, like we joked about last week, they're showcasing all their Pasadena area kids, against the kids they probably grew up playing Pop Warner with. Credit to Muir. I want to give John Hardy and his staff and those kids credit. In the past, it was Oaks Christian, and now it's Alemany. I mean,
I've seen them play Loyola. They're taking on Bishop Amat.
Exactly.
They're going to play Rancho Cucamonga next week.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find a tougher non-league schedule, not only in their division, but a lot of teams in a lot of leagues and a lot of divisions in Southern California. So I give them credit. However, Alemany, they put up 100 points in 2 years against Pasadena, and with Devin Dunn at quarterback, Stephen Mitchell, the all-purpose threat, committed to SC. They've got really strong guys, skill positions on both sides of the ball. They can force turnovers. They're explosive in the return game. It just might be too big of a mountain for Muir to climb.
You give them a lot of credit, Eric, but they're just not winnable games.
Yeah.
We have a team, another West Covina, taking on Loyola, a team you're familiar with. I think they've got a shot in that game. I think when you want to take on these games, we've got Charter Oak taking Bishop Amat. Chino Hills will be taking on Bishop Amat this week. I think those are winnable games. I think you have to look at the season, and when you schedule these games, they've got to be games you feel like you can win. And right now, Muir, they don't have it rolling right now. They'll be lucky if they win the Pacific League.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it's great that they're scheduling these games. I mean, Muir of the past, this is what you do. I'm just not sure this year they're ready for something like this.
But I want to make a quick point about Alemany. After this, it's real for Alemany after this. In succession, after this, JW North, who they lost to by a point last year, Corona Centennial, Dorsey, Norco, and then, by the way, the Sara League.
Yeah, and they better start playing those games because playing Pasadena Muir isn't a test for what lies ahead for them.
Yeah, especially after Bishop Amat beating Servite last week, they better get ready.
Okay, another game we're kind of familiar with in this neighborhood. We got Arcadia 0-1. Arcadia, kind of, for them, this is kind of an embarrassing loss. They're coming off a loss to Rio Hondo Prep, a school with probably 100 enrollment.
Right.
I know I've joked Arcadia's probably got 100 people in their math class.
Absolutely.
So, that was 29-7 last week. And we got St. Francis, their very first game. They're at home. This is a traditional rivalry that's always been a pretty good game. I'm not sure this time if it's as close, looking at what Arcadia's done. And Arcadia's Joey Herman, their projected starting quarterback. He tore his ACL in a scrimmage before Rio Hondo Prep. So he's out the whole season.
And that was a huge blow for them, too.
It was. And this game is going to be 7:30 Friday night. Give us your thoughts on that, Eric.
Well, first of all, I want to go back to a decade ago and say that anything in this rivalry is possible, because I was in attendance at St. Francis when Arcadia beat St. Francis 2-0.
2-0. I remember that game.
On an errant punt snap out of the end zone. It wasn't KJ Edson pitching against Christian Bergman, okay? It was a football game, 2-0. So anything is possible in this rivalry. With that being said, Arcadia and Coach Chris Long, I mean, they got to find a way to get it together, because I mean, if you're losing to the intercity rival in Rio Hondo Prep, and then you're following it up, with a long-standing rival in St. Francis, I mean, if you're starting off 0-2 there, the optimism is going to be diminishing really quick in Apache country.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking at this game. I mean, Arcadia, after losing a game like that, they've got to show something of themselves against St. Francis. If you're St. Francis, you don't want to lose this game now. You're going to lose this game, and people are going to do the math. They're going to say, look, this team just lost to Rio Hondo Prep.
Of course.
How does St. Francis in their opener at home, fumble in their opener against a team like Arcadia? I think it's important for them. And also on our side of the town, there's this big debate: who's really the number one team in our area? Is it Monrovia or St. Francis? They're going to play later.
September 28th, man. Everybody's pointing at that game.
That is one of the big games.
And St. Francis can't start off 0-1 if they're getting ready for Monrovia.
Not against Arcadia.
Absolutely. So I mean,
it would almost force us to make Rio Hondo Prep the number one team in the area if that happens.
Wow. Definitely stop the presses on that. I mean, Ken Drain does a phenomenal job. I'm happy for those kids. They stepped up in class. They got. I mean, they've won CIF titles before, but I mean that was a huge win for them as far as the community goes. But I'm really looking for big things from Jared Leibowitz, the St. Francis quarterback in this game. I mean, he came from the East Coast last year, kind of familiarized himself with Coach Jim Bond's offense. In the second year in control, I'm looking for a huge season.
Safe to say, you and I both have St. Francis big.
Yes. Anything other than that,
I like to say it's a rivalry and anything can happen and be close. No, I'm not saying that this year. I like St. Francis big. Okay, this is the final part of our segment. This is the rapid fire. Eric, like I told you, he's an encyclopedia in that area. Eric, take it away.
Well, outside of these classic local matchups and rivalries, I want the fans out there to pay attention to a couple of games involving teams out of state making the trip to California. You've got Pulaski, Arkansas, 14-0 last year, State Power in Arkansas. coming out to play Chaminade on the blue turf in Chaminade. If you haven't seen the blue turf at Chaminade, you got to make a trip. It's like Boise State.
Yeah.
Out
I don't
here.
think they were going to allow that out there.
Yeah.
We were trying to get San Dimas to put the Smurf turf in there, and they wouldn't do it. I think that's great.
But this Pulaski team, they don't punt, and they run a lot of trick plays. Like it could be 4th and 10 on their own 10, and they're going the Bill Belichick mentality.
Awesome.
They're going for it. So take a look at that game. We also have Liberty High School from Henderson, Nevada, a Nevada State Power along with Bishop Gorman, coming to play Crespi 6 p.m. Saturday. Now that Pulaski Chaminade game is on Friday. You got Henderson and Crespi on Saturday. Crespi's already played 2 games. This is going to be their 3rd game, Fred. I can't believe it. It's like they're just leaving everybody in the desk. They got to realize it's a marathon, not a sprint. You also have Canyon High School from Canyon Country going up to Clovis West to play at Buchanan. I mean, obviously Clovis West, always a Central Section power, always in contention for that D1 State Bowl conversation. So that's Canyon, easy win over Morningside last week. This is going to be a huge step up in class for them.
And we even got a team going out of the country, don't we?
Absolutely, a great point. And that was the last one I was going to round it out with. You got Notre Dame coming off a really tough 26-23 loss to Sarah. They had to get the emotions in check real quick because they boarded a plane to Dublin, Ireland on Tuesday, and they're going to be playing Hamilton High School from Arizona at Parnell Park in Dublin, Ireland. And one thing I found out is when they were on a holdover from England to Ireland, that 40 kids had issues with the transfer plane and had to sit there and wait in England. So far things not off to a good start for Coach Kevin Rooney and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame doesn't have a game next week, do they?
Yeah, I believe they do.
They do. Wow. So, try getting some rest and get ready for that one.
Absolutely. And then also the Battle for Veterans Series. It started off last week with Oaks Christian, Thousand Oaks, and Westlake going up to Northern California to play schools from the Sac Joaquin section. Those schools are now coming down here. So on Friday night, you got Westlake taking on Del Oro, and Saturday you got Oaks Christian taking on Granite Bay. Great cause, the Battle for the Veterans. You can always, especially coming around Labor Day and stuff like that, and you can always get excited. You can always rally around a good cause like that.
Wow, there you go. That wraps up the rapid fire segment with Erik Boal. I'm Fred Robledo with the San Gabriel Valley News Group. I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy Friday night's games and go to the Los Angeles Daily News blogs on Friday night. And Erik is going to post all the scores there. You can discuss it. You can debate it. You can throw your comments in there. And Erik will tell you how he feels. Again, get ready. It's Friday night football coming tomorrow night.